Today's face-off on Fox Soul. Challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams. Ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Remember, before we get started, whatever it says to you, do not listen to it. It will play on your heart, it will play on your mind. My name is Apostle Bernice James. The other person present is Ebony Jackson, the mother. Father, we ask that you cleanse and sanctify us for this deliverance. Ebony, get back.
If you believe, you shall be saved. You shall be saved. You shall be saved. You shall be saved.
In this round, here's Quan LX.
Charles, we just watched a video clipping, a trailer for the movie Deliverance, which was produced by Lee Daniels. The movie portrays the true story, true events. True events based on the life of a Miss LaToya Amons, I believe her name was in real life, LaToya Amons, not Ebony Jackson. The movie is Ebony Jackson, but in real life it's Miss Amons. I actually did a lot of research on the story years ago when I first heard about it, because many African Americans had never ever heard of a real demonic possession or exorcism being performed on a black child in a black family. We'd never heard anything like that. And so it shocked so many, it made national news years ago, this particular story that took place in Indiana. Well, many are angry with Mr. Daniels because the grandmother in this movie Deliverance is portrayed by Glenn Close, a famous award-winning actor, Hollywood actress, white female, older white female playing the grandmother. But in real life, the grandmother's black, she's not white. And throughout the movie, there are references made about the grandmother's skin color. When people are upset because it's a false portrayal of the facts, that this is a story based on true events, that was about a black grandmother and a black grandchildren and black daughter, not a white woman who's being portrayed as the grandmother in this film.
So you have a problem? You agree with the criticism?
Oh, I do. I do. Because this was a story based on true events.
Okay.
Now, if this was a fictional story with fictional characters, then okay, somebody else can play that role. But when you got a story based on actual true life story events, the people who actually live that should be portrayed correctly, not as a different race.
All right, I mean, I'm not shocked that you kind of sprung this topic on me. I wish I'd have known before today because I'd have watched the film. I am a fan of Glenn Close's work.
You don't watch black movies, stop.
It's just your bigotry talking, not the truth. I enjoy Glenn Close. I think she was great in Fatal Attraction, Dangerous Liaison. She's made a bunch of great movies. I think if you listen, I've read some interviews and stuff, Lee Daniels had a character that he wanted to introduce in his movie, a masterful filmmaker. Even though apparently in your mind I don't watch black movies, I'm a big fan of his movies. I don't know why you'd have to characterize them as a race-based movie. He's a great, brilliant filmmaker, irrespective of race. But hold on. Well, you said I don't watch black movies.
You don't.
But here's the thing. I've never heard you complain when they had a Viking warlord who was portrayed as an African-American woman 2 years ago. You didn't have any complaint.
What movie was that?
You have Romeo and Juliet. You have Juliet, an African-American woman. You have all of these historical figures. Netflix loves to do it on the same show.
Well, wait a minute. How you know Romeo and Juliet were white folk?
Okay, hold on.
In real life, how you know that?
Because it's characterized very clearly.
Oh, stop, man. They characterized Cleopatra as a white woman when Elizabeth Taylor played her. But Cleopatra was clearly a black woman.
But she wasn't. Okay, I don't want to argue.
Cleopatra was a black woman.
No,
she was not some white girl.
They have traced her heritage. It's not a fact.
She was an Egyptian black woman, Cleopatra, and ancient Egyptians are not white folks.
Instead of listening to TikTok,
I
maybe do some actual research.
That you not the goose laid the golden egg.
But look, but the thing is, yeah, you had an issue with Cleopatra. You have an issue with this situation. but you don't have any issue when it goes the other way. And I don't have an issue, right? When everybody, a lot of people got mad when you got a fictional character like Little Mermaid, and they decided to make Ariel a black woman, a black girl. Hey, did the actress do a good job?
But that's a fictional story,
Right,
Charles.
right.
Charles, you can't compare fictional stories, Charles, to real life true stories. Next, we're going to portray Malcolm X as a white man.
Well,
next, we're going to portray Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as a white man.
But that's
and
not,
God forbid you portray Harriet Tubman one day as a white woman.
But that's not what happened here. Okay, you have an incident. Now, this occurred in allegedly 2011 when kids were supposed to be walking up the walls and stuff. And
well, according to police officers and doctors at the hospital and emergency room nurses and CPS caseworkers, they all claim to see it. They all claim to witness it. Police claim to witness it.
Exorcisms often are tied to mental illness and are often very abusive to the children that are getting the exorcism, if you look through the history of it, right? But hey, everyone's claiming it. Maybe it happened. Now, in 2011,
Charles, a police captain.
In 2011, everyone had a damn phone to record it. Nobody recorded it.
A police captain and sergeant went to the house to investigate the allegations of child abuse. And Charles, when they were there, they clearly state that they encountered a demonic demon that scared them so bad, the police refused to go back to the home. Even in the emergency room, the doctors and nurses claimed to witness the child walk back up the wall backwards.
About whether this is fiction or it is truth. But Lee Daniels, very clearly, he took a story and he made it his movie. He changed a lot of facts, not just the race of the grandmother.
This is true.
He changed locations, he changed names, he made it his own story, right? And I will tell you my position. When I listen to white people bitch, oh, they made the Little Mermaid black, or they made, you know.
But that's a fictional story,
hold on.
Charles.
But there are tons of people, there are tons of historical figures, like in England, that have been transmogrified into African-American actors and actresses on Netflix. Oh, a ton of royalty, right? It's very popular.
Now, we know
right?
what no
but hold on.
We as black folks know what no royal Negroes in the royal family in Europe.
But again, I don't care, because my math is, hey, does it advance the story? Is this actor or actress?
I disagree with that.
Do you think a straight person should play a gay person, or a gay person should play a straight person?
So listen to me. If it's a fictional role, then a straight person can do it. But if it's a story based on a real-life gay person's experience in real life, then get a gay character to portray that role.
But that's why it's called acting, right? Rock Hudson had to cover up his sexuality his entire career.
No,
he played a great rom-com leading man.
He covered it up because he chose to.
Because he was
because The Rock was getting rocked, but he wanted nobody who was rocking him.
No,
so
hold on.
Bottom line is, he chose to cover that up.
Absolutely wrong. Rock Hudson knew that if he came out as gay, his career would be destroyed by bigots like you.
Charles,
right?
don't say
and
that,
that's
Charles.
the only reason he did it.
You know I'm not a bigot.
And
Charles, how many times have you come out on this show and I have not turned my back on you? How many times have you come out on this show, Charles, and I've embraced you and I treat you as a kind human being?
You love
even
to
though I
call
know
me,
you want to wear a wig.
I know you think it's
even though I know you're one step from Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn, Charles,
I know
I still love
that
you, brother.
You find this
I haven't
amusing,
turned my back on you, Charles.
But whoever the best actor is for the job, not about race. And let me tell you something. Lee Daniels explained why he's telling a story. Good for Lee Daniels. People like you are just hypocrites.
Ashley Zavala is live at the state capitol right now with what's happening. Ashley?
That's right, Orko. This has been the big story mainly all day here. California's Legislative Black Caucus, which represents the black members of the state legislature, confirmed that lawmakers will not move forward with those two key proposals. The first, SB 1403, which would establish a state agency to oversee the state's reparations efforts. The other, SB 1331, that would establish a state fund for reparations. So the blocking of these bills has angered protesters who've been in the Capitol Rotunda all day, yelling at lawmakers in the assembly to bring the bills up for a vote. State Senator Stephen Bradford said Governor Newsom's office asked him to make changes to the bill that would establish the state agency and to instead turn it into a study of reparations recommendations by the University of California. Bradford would not accept the changes, and he says the Legislative Black Caucus is afraid of the veto. But the leader of the Legislative Black Caucus, Assemblymember Lori Wilson, denied this. Bradford told us, though, the Bills have the votes.
In this round, here's Quanell X.
Charles, we just watched a video that speaks volumes, a news story that speaks the truth in many ways about the con game that many politicians play on the emotions and minds of black voters. You had Governor Newsom and other Democratic elected officials in California say that they were going to move forward with paying reparations to black people in America, or in California in particular, who were the descendants of America's slaves who labored, soldiered, and died in California. And that California would be the first state in the nation to pay reparations to its black citizens for slavery. That was the idea, that was the talk. And so when the bill was put together, it was put before the Legislative House, had a date on it to be voted upon. Then when they get there, black people discovered that Governor Newsom, allegedly, that was said by a black legislator, Democrat also, said Governor Newsom called the Legislative Black Caucus and told them, change the language from a state fund to oversee the distribution of reparations and a state agency that would monitor who receives it, and now change it to a state, this is their language, a state study of reparations. It went from paying reparations to studying the idea. It's a con game that many Democratic elected officials have used to play on the minds and hearts of black people, and now they will deceive black folk in California believing that the Democratic friends that we have, which is nothing more than a con game itself, was a lie. They never truly intended to pay reparations to black people in California. Even though they had the votes to pass it, Governor Newsom stopped it.
Okay, so who, because you've shifted on this topic quite a bit, right? Clearly, I agree with you that this has all just been a shell game, right? Because what they do in California is they want to, like the homeless crisis in California, they have spent billions with a B, and I think in the centibillion, like over $100 billion, with tons of money just vanishing, right? I think it's 26 billion vanished over the last few years that they can't even explain where it went or went to show for, but we know where it went. It went to making people rich, the bureaucrats, the private, the non-governmental organizations that study the problem and address root causes. Because when you say root causes, that says, oh, we can spend a bunch of money, we don't have to fix anything, right? And we can claim that we're trying. And it's the same game they're playing with reparations. Oh, well, we're going to study the problem, and people are going to be getting paid a bunch of money for studying the problem, but we're not going to address the problem. But what is your current position, Quanell? Because historically you were, I think we need reparations, but we don't need to give money.
I never said think.
You said you didn't want people to get a check.
I said we deserve. Let me
Okay.
finish. I said we deserve reparations as black people in America. I still believe that
Every
to this
black
day,
person?
But I believe this.
Every black person.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I do not believe giving every black individual a check for reparations is in the best interest of the survival and upliftment of black people as a whole. What I believe that the most brilliant black minds, men and women, must be brought together, and they must come together for 3 years and study the most appropriate way for reparations to be paid to black people, especially in education, healthcare, housing, banking, etc., many different ways. But to just give us individual checks, but don't give us medical treatment and medical therapy and counseling that we never received as black people in this country and never received the help that we deserve,
what do you mean?
then that's the wrong way to do it.
Are you
Let
saying,
me finish.
No, you just told a lie.
My concern, Charles, is that if reparations is paid, they will bring a commission together of politically connected Negroes that they've always owned, bought, and paid for, and they will rob the fund to enrich special interest Negroes and not benefit the masses of black people.
So
the masses must benefit, not a few
you are
connected
complaining
Negroes
about
to
California
politicians.
wanting to fund a study, but yet you want a study. But you want the people involved in that study
Not to
that
no.
decide. That's
They
what
don't
you
distribute
just
the
said.
money. They are part of the study, but they're not responsible for distributing money. They're responsible for making the suggestions,
So
but not how.
You're
but
mad
not
about
actually
a
distributing
study,
the money.
but you don't want a study. You want reparations, but you don't want checks
No,
going directly to people.
What I'm saying is California.
Well, you're not
was
saying
wrong.
anything.
California was wrong to a lot of black people.
Okay.
They made black people believe that they were about to get paid reparations, which they never intended to do. That it was a lie. Governor
who
Newsom
was
and the Democrats.
stupid enough to believe
But
that?
many black
and
folk
hey,
were.
all the people
Because of the language that they used to
but
deceive
you
black
also
people in California,
said black
they lied
people
to
never
them.
had access to health care. In California, everyone has access to health care.
Charles, let me tell you
so
something.
why are you just making that
The
up?
first thing the government of America should have did after slavery.
The governor of America?
The government of America.
Government.
The government of America should have
Okay.
done after slavery was make it free health care for all black people and gave us free psychological and psychotherapy counseling
How about
for as
how
many
about-
years as we
How
were
about
slaves.
just doing health care for all American citizens?
But all America wasn't enslaved in this
Oh,
country. All
okay.
Americans wasn't
So
enslaved
you
in this
want
country.
solutions.
All America was not enslaved in this country.
Let's not, you know, Whitey, y'all shut up. We no health care.
No,
but
Whitey benefited.
Will we have
Whitey
a
always
test?
had
Will we
health
have a
care.
test? where-
Whitey always had health care.
Oh, really? Whitey's always had health care?
Whitey always had health care.
How about all the white people that don't have
The whole
health?
system was designed for Whitey to be
There
successful
are more
in
white
America.
people in poverty in America than black people.
And that's a well-kept secret.
All you do is
And that's
lie.
a well-kept secret.
In today's Face Off, up.
All right, Quado, this is now on suspension. Robert Nunez, who is the Buhok Colony High School principal, on administrative leave for this video. This is Central Valley of California. It looked like a typical pep rally up until the school mascot, a student, a teenager, decided to do a lap dance on the principal, and it appeared that the principal might have returned the favor. I don't know.
Might have.
I don't know if
What the hell were you watching?
Was the confetti explosion supposed to be indicative of a male explosion or some sort? I don't know. But this is just an example of the continued casual sexualization of teenagers in America. The fact that there is no filter, right? And I don't think it should be the government, right? I don't think the government should do the job of filtering.
Kids doing this?
But no, I know.
This is the head administrator
He's
of the
making
school.
the decision.
The principal.
Right, and you can't have that, right?
Then he jumps up and grabs the microphone and says, "What happens stays here."
Right.
Like he's saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, in front of those children.
Right.
Charles, these are the same people that we're sending our children to for 8 hours a day to be academically and morally enlightened and educated. And we wonder why America's public school system, its academic rating is at an all-time low around the world. In fact, the world is making mockery of the academic rating in America today. Charles, and we wonder why right here in Texas, Texas teachers leads the nation in inappropriate sexual relationships with students right here in Texas. This man is the principal getting a lap dance. He got up and was giving a lap dance back to the mascot when he knew it was a child inside the mascot uniform. He shouldn't be on administrative leave. He should be fired. Because tell me what child could do that in open at a school in front of everybody and not be completely suspended from school?
Oh, I agree. Look, I think he absolutely should lose his job. I think it's absolutely disgusting. That's the reason he's the bleep up of the day. But when you say this is why we're not academically successful, this isn't true. If you look through the history,
part of the
let me
reason.
finish.
It's part of the
If you look
reason.
at the history of education, especially when it's tied to religions, like even today, church schools have just as much, if not more, sexual assaults of the students than anybody, right? It's crazy. But right now, the reason our schools are so bad is because during the Obama era, and there's things that I think Obama did very well, there's some things that he did bad. And the Department of Education started streamlining this national policy of just moving kids on, just passing them. And they started treating standardized testing as if it's racist, right? As opposed to looking to root causes. No, when you have a racial difference in passage rates, it could be because the test is racist. It could be because you're not doing enough for young black children to educate them.
It could
so
very
now
well
what they're
be,
doing
and
is
I
they're
believe
just
it
pushing
is,
kids through
that the
school.
state's
And if you
economic
look at
funding
it, is
of
liberal
inner-city poor
policies
schools is
of
not the
doing
same as it
away
should
with.
be.
You're doing away with honors programs. You're doing away with teacher accountability. You're doing away with metrics for students. You
And
know,
who's
if a
pushing
kid
that?
can't pass,
Who's pushing
well,
that?
the left, the Democrats.
The teachers' unions.
Okay, no, I don't disagree because they
They're
don't
the
want to do
ones
their
pushing
job.
that.
It's just like cops are pushing, hey, police reform means we don't have to do any damn work. We want to show up. Reform isn't not doing your damn job. Reform is doing your damn
But
job
Charles, why
better.
is he
And
on
teachers
administrative
aren't
leave?
doing their job.
He should be
this
fired.
guy needs to be out of the whole business.
He should be fired.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They need to be worried about learning, teaching kids, not rubbing their butt cracks on a girl's
But
lap.
what does it say about the culture of today's academic environment?
It's horrible.
Where teachers
It's
feel
horrible.
comfortable doing this in front of the kids.
I mean, but the thing is,
we got
I'd
teachers
much
getting
rather
their
be
hair
talking.
braided by students. We got teachers getting their hair done and braided by students in
You said that
science
twice.
class.
Yeah.
Charles, we got teachers giving lap dances beyond this one in class. This ain't the first one.
I would just like to say, I'd just like to have some hair to braid. You know, it's always about the bald people, Cornell.
I bet you'd have been a bad student, too.
Anyway.
That's it for the Face Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.